Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm here with an update to the Lossless Scaling Frame Generator program. It's now updated to version 2.2, and we'll get into what the changes are here in a little bit, but the first thing I'll tell you about is what this program is. So this is a universal frame generator that can be used for most games, and it can be used with most graphics cards, AMD, Nvidia, including GTX cards. And this is one of the really important points, is that you can use this even with the GTX cards. This program was built from the ground up using machine learning and artificial intelligence, and it is absolutely amazing. So the original version of it could double your frame rates, but a couple of months ago they came out with version 2.0, which can now triple your frame rates. The minimum recommended base frame rates are 30 to 40 for 1080p and 1440p resolutions, and about 60 frames per second for optimal performance. So the minimum you want to get is 30 FPS, and you have to be able to hit that consistently. And ideally, you would like to be able to hit 60 FPS consistently in order to be able to get the most out of this program. Now, the version 2.0 update that came out a couple months ago focused on reducing the artifacts that we see generally with frame generation, which is motion ghosting, edge distortion, and image blurring. And you guys all know what that looks like. The numbers on the PFDs and the electronic flight displays, the little flickering around the corners of windows, the bottom of windows, and things like that. And then most recently, about a month ago, version 2.1 of the frame generator came out, and that introduced the ×3 mode. And what that means is now, instead of just doubling your frame rates, you can triple them. Rather than working at the game level, all it does is take whatever image is on the screen, it captures that image, and then it predicts what either the next frame is going to look like, or now in the case of ×3 mode, what the next 2 frames are going to look like. So you can effectively triple your frame rate. Now you might say this sounds too good to be true, but testing has shown that even the ×3 mode does not cause any additional latency compared to the ×2 mode. Latency, in other words, any sort of delay or lag in the program, is mostly affected by your base frame rate, which is why you have to be able to achieve a consistent, relatively decent frame rate in order to use this most effectively. So in order to get the most out of the ×3 mode, what you want to do is be able to achieve that base frame rate and then lock the game frame rate at 1/3 of your monitor's refresh rate, and then turn on ×3 mode. And we'll look at the program here in a second. Another recent improvement is now, if the program renders more frames than your computer can display, in other words, it's rendering all of the frames that it can, but your monitor can't show you all of those frames, it will actually skip rendering the extra frame to not only give you improved frame pacing, less latency, and less artifacting, but it's also going to be more resource efficient. So the performance is better in terms of what you see visually, and the burden on your hardware is actually lower. So with Lossless Scaling Frame Generator 2.2, which is the latest version, what they're focusing in this version is improved smoothness, frame rate stability, and better latency for a wide range of GPUs. So you're going to see less artifacting in this new version 2.2. And one of the big things that a lot of people have issues with are cursor rendering. People see lag in the cursor. In this new version of the program, your cursor is going to be rendered at the same target frame rate as the program you're using, so you're not going to have any more cursor lag. And this latest version has also introduced a max frame latency option, which acts as a balance between latency and performance. There's no best value. You're going to have to try this and see what works for you. But generally speaking, the optimal value for Nvidia GPUs is 1, and the optimal value for AMD GPUs is 3. Alright, here we are in the program. When you first start it, you're going to see over here on the left, game profiles. You're only going to have the default profile. And what the profiles do is save all of the settings for each individual game that you want to use it for. I only use it for Microsoft Flight Simulator, but like I said, you can use it for pretty much any game. So if you want to add a profile to a game, let's say I've got the F1 game, just click Add Profile at the bottom. If I want to click F1 and then Add. And now I can come in here and let's say I want to set a custom scale factor and set Nvidia image scaling. We'll go over these in a second. But now I've got that saved for my F1 profile, and if I want to go back to my Microsoft Flight Simulator profile, I just click there, and whatever the last settings that I had set here will be automatically saved. So looking from left to right, we've got the scaling mode over here. This program was originally designed to downscale and then re-upscale images, basically like DLSS does, the quality balanced performance modes in DLSS and Microsoft Flight Simulator, to give you better performance. That's not what we're using it for. So you don't want to touch the scaling mode. You just want to leave the scaling mode alone. Scaling type you want to leave off. This is the part here that we're interested in, the frame gen part. The latest version is LSFG 2.2, and that's the one you want to select. And then the modes are ×2 mode or ×3 mode. Performance mode is for less powerful GPUs, so the quality isn't quite as good as when performance mode is turned off. But if you have a less powerful GPU, GTX from Nvidia, etc., you might want to try performance mode if you're not able to get the type of performance that you're looking for. Here under sync mode, when it is set to default, there are two options here. This is off to allow tearing, and then there's the VSync, VSync 1/2, VSync 1/3, VSync 1/4. If you leave it on default, that means that the tearing option and the VSync option are both off. I would recommend leaving this in default, because what it does is it makes sure that the most recently generated frame is the one that is used. So we were talking earlier about how sometimes it may generate more frames than you can display. If you leave it on default, it will discard any extra frames that it doesn't need, so it's going to give you better performance. Max frame latency, as we talked about earlier, you want to set for 1 for Nvidia GPUs, and you want to set it to 3 for AMD GPUs. If you want to see what frame rate is being generated by the program, just click here on Draw FPS and it'll show you an FPS counter in the sim. Here under Capture API, generally speaking, you want DXGI. That's the one that is going to give the best performance for most people. Here under GPU and display, just pick your GPU and your display. If you've got multiple displays, you can select which one to use. There's a multi-display mode. If you go up here to settings, there is a scale hotkey. Now let me explain scale real quick. So scale is right here. Remember how I said that originally this program was designed to downscale and re-upscale the image for better performance? That's not what we're using it for, but the scale button is basically the on-off button for the settings that we have, even here in the frame gen portion. So once you get all your settings set, if you click here on scale, it's going to give you a countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then turn the program on. I don't have a game running right now, so that's what it's telling me right here. And then to turn it off, you just hit that scale button again. You can set a hotkey to turn scaling on and off, which the default is Control S. If you want to change it, go ahead and do that here. You can start the program as administrator. I wouldn't recommend it. It's generally not necessary. You can start the program at the start of Windows if you want to. You can minimize it to the tray when you click the close button there in the upper right hand corner. And then there's different languages and different themes, light and dark theme if you want to change those. So that's pretty much it. What we have now is hopefully a program that's going to give you smoother performance, better frame rate stability, and less latency. I'll put a link in the description to the previous videos that I did on this program. They also have a Discord where you can go, and they're very active in their Discord, so if you have questions you can go ask the developer in their Discord. And I hope everybody's doing well and have a great rest of your day.